There are places in this world where silence isn't empty, it's watching. Places where the past hasn't moved on and where the living are only visitors. Tonight, we'll explore 3 true encounters with the unexplained, told from those who lived through them and never forgot. Turn down the lights and listen closely. Story 1. The Man in the Mirror. Claire had just moved into a small colonial-era home built in the 1800s. It was charming, old and quiet, exactly what she needed after a difficult divorce. The house had one peculiar feature, a tall, old-fashioned mirror bolted to the wall in the upstairs hallway. It was carved from dark wood, slightly warped with age. The first time she noticed something was off. It was subtle. She thought she saw someone standing behind her as she walked past, a man in a dark coat. But when she turned, no one was there. Over the next few weeks, the feeling intensified. Claire began to avoid the hallway after dark. Friends mentioned they felt watched near the mirror. Her dog refused to walk past it, growling low whenever he got too close. One night, around 3 a.m., Claire was woken by the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, pacing upstairs, but she lived alone. She crept to the hallway, and in the mirror she saw him clearly. A man, tall, expressionless, standing behind her reflection. But not in the hallway itself. When she turned, he was gone. The room was cold. The mirror fogged slightly, as if someone had breathed on it. That was the last night she stayed in the house. Years later, Claire looked up the home's history. In 1922, a man named Thomas Hargrove had hanged himself in the hallway, right where the mirror now hangs. He was found standing upright, leaning against the wall, staring into a mirror that had once been bolted to the same spot. Story 2. The Girl at Station Road in the late 80s. Jeff worked the night shift along an old rail line between smaller towns in North Yorkshire. The route was usually quiet, especially in winter. One snowy December night, as his train slowed near a rural crossing, Jeff spotted a figure on the tracks, a young girl in a light dress, standing still in the snow. He hit the brakes. Horn blaring, but by the time the train stopped, she was gone. No body, no footsteps in the snow, just silence. Disturbed, Jeff reported the sighting, but nothing came of it. Over the next few years, others reported seeing her, always in winter, always at the same spot, dressed in white, staring at the train. Eventually, an older local told Jeff the story in 1903. A train had hit a carriage near that very crossing. A girl named Eliza had been thrown from the wreck and died instantly. Some say she'd been trying to get her doll, which had fallen onto the tracks. Jeff never saw her again, but he claimed he always slowed down near Station Road, just in case. He died in 2019. In his journal, found by his grandson, Jeff wrote, "Some passengers don't move on, some just wait." Story 3. The Campfire Whispers. Jake, Emma, Luis, and Sarah set up camp deep in the Mount Hood National Forest. It was their final night of a week-long hiking trip, and spirits were high. As darkness fell, they lit a campfire, made dinner, and told stories until past midnight. At 12:30 a.m., Luis stepped away to relieve himself in the woods. Minutes passed. Then 15, then 30, when they found him. He was standing still about 50 meters from camp, pale, shaking. He wouldn't speak. Back at the fire, Luis finally said this: "Someone was whispering to me in the dark. They knew my name. But they weren't human. their voice came from everywhere. Jake later described hearing the whispers too. Not words, just a low, rhythmic sound, like breathing and distant talking, layered over each other. Emma noticed something else. Their compass had spun wildly during the night. And Sarah swore she saw figures standing just outside the firelight, not animals, not people. Watching, the group left at dawn without packing properly. A year later, a local ranger confirmed that part of the forest had long been feared by indigenous communities, known as a thin place where the boundary between worlds weakens. The world is full of stories that don't make sense, encounters we try to forget, moments we can't explain. Whether they're ghosts, echoes, or something older, some stories leave a trace. And sometimes it finds its way back. Thank you for listening to the Haunted Reports. If you've had a real encounter with the unexplained, leave a comment or send your story. We might just tell it next time. Until then, stay in the light. And don't look too long in the mirror.